You press the accelerator, the engine speeds up, and without touching a clutch pedal, your car quietly changes gears. In less than a second, several components hidden inside a metal case release, lock, and redirect engine power, all while hundreds of moving parts continue spinning. An automatic transmission is often described as a box full of gears, but that description misses what makes it extraordinary. It is really a mechanical decision-making system built from rotating gears, hydraulic pressure, friction clutches, and electronic control. It must multiply torque when the car starts moving, select the correct ratio as speed changes, reverse the direction of rotation when requested, and sometimes disconnect the engine from the wheels, all without interrupting the drive. So, how does an automatic transmission actually accomplish all of this? An engine cannot power the wheels efficiently at every road speed. At very low engine speed, it may not produce enough useful power. At extremely high speed, it risks excessive heat, wear, and damage. Yet the wheels must operate from 0 revolutions per minute when the car is stopped to more than 1,000 revolutions per minute at highway speed. The transmission solves this mismatch by changing the relationship between engine speed and wheel speed. A low gear allows the engine to rotate many times for each turn of the wheels. This multiplies torque and helps the vehicle accelerate. A high gear lets the wheels turn farther with fewer engine revolutions, reducing fuel consumption, noise, and wear while cruising. Follow the power from the engine, and the first major transmission component it reaches is the torque converter. The torque converter performs the job that a clutch performs in a manual car, but it does so mainly with moving fluid. Its housing is connected to the engine and spins whenever the engine is running. Inside are 3 important elements: the impeller, the turbine, and the stator. The impeller is driven directly by the engine. As it spins, curved blades throw transmission fluid outward. The moving fluid strikes the blades of the turbine, causing the turbine and the transmission input shaft to rotate. There is no rigid mechanical connection between them during this phase. Power crosses the gap through the circulating fluid. This is why an automatic car can remain in drive while stopped. The engine continues turning the impeller, but with the brakes holding the car still, the turbine can rotate much more slowly or remain nearly stationary. The fluid slips between the two sides, allowing the engine to keep running without stalling. When the driver accelerates from a stop, the returning fluid would naturally push against the impeller and reduce efficiency. The stator redirects that returning flow before it reaches the impeller. During strong acceleration, this redirection can temporarily multiply torque, giving the vehicle additional pulling force exactly when it needs it most. Once the impeller and turbine approach similar speeds, the stator begins to freewheel and torque multiplication fades. At cruising speed, a lockup clutch can connect the torque converter housing directly to the turbine. This removes most fluid slip, improving efficiency and reducing heat. After passing through the torque converter, power reaches the heart of the automatic transmission, the planetary gear system. A basic planetary gear set contains a sun gear in the center, several planet gears rotating around it, a planet carrier supporting those gears, and a ring gear surrounding the entire assembly. All of these gears remain meshed at the same time. The transmission does not shift by sliding different-sized gears into contact. Instead, it creates different ratios by choosing which planetary member is driven, which member is held, and which member becomes the output. Imagine the engine driving the sun gear while the ring gear is held stationary. The planet gears must roll around the fixed ring, carrying the planet carrier with them. The carrier turns more slowly than the sun gear, but with greater torque. That produces a reduction gear useful for launching and accelerating the car. Now lock 2 planetary members together. Because the gears can no longer move relative to one another, the whole assembly rotates as one unit. Input speed and output speed become equal, producing a direct drive ratio. With another combination, the output can rotate faster than the input. This creates overdrive, allowing the engine to run more slowly during highway travel. Hold a different member stationary, and the output direction can be reversed. That is how the transmission produces reverse without making the engine spin backward. This simple example explains the principle, but modern transmissions usually combine multiple planetary sets. Different designs may use compound gear arrangements, and an 8, 9, or 10-speed transmission can create many ratios from a surprisingly compact collection of gears. But planetary gears cannot choose their own operating mode. The transmission needs a way to hold and release specific components at exactly the right moment.
That job belongs to the clutch packs, and, in some designs, brake bands.
A clutch pack contains alternating friction discs and steel plates. Some discs are connected to a rotating shaft, while others are connected to a drum or another gear set member. When hydraulic pressure squeezes the pack together, friction locks the discs and plates so they rotate as one component. When pressure is released, they can rotate independently again.
Older automatic transmissions often use bands wrapped around drums to hold particular members stationary. Modern designs rely more heavily on multiple clutch packs, but the goal is the same: control the planetary gear sets by selectively connecting or holding their members.
The force operating those clutches comes from automatic transmission fluid. A pump circulates this specialized fluid throughout the transmission. The fluid transfers hydraulic force, lubricates bearings and gears, carries heat away from the torque converter and clutch packs, and helps remove microscopic wear particles.
Pressurized fluid then reaches the valve body, a maze of carefully shaped channels, valves, and passages. You can think of it as the transmission's hydraulic control center. In older transmissions, vehicle speed, throttle position, spring forces, and hydraulic pressure largely determined when shifts occurred. In modern vehicles, electronic solenoids open and close fluid passages under the command of a transmission control module. The control module constantly evaluates information such as accelerator position, engine load, engine speed, vehicle speed, brake input, driving mode, and transmission temperature. It then selects a gear and calculates how quickly each clutch should apply or release. Suppose the car is accelerating in first gear. One combination of clutches holds and drives the necessary planetary members to create a large torque multiplying reduction. As vehicle speed rises, first gear is no longer efficient. The controller prepares the next clutch circuit, reduces pressure on one clutch, and increases pressure on another. For a smooth shift, these actions must overlap with remarkable precision. If the first clutch releases too early, engine speed can flare upward because power is briefly disconnected. If the next clutch applies too early, two ratios may fight each other, producing a harsh shift and enormous internal stress. The controller therefore manages clutch pressure in fractions of a second and may ask the engine computer to briefly reduce torque during the change. The result is a controlled handoff. One power path fades away as another takes over, and the planetary system begins producing the next ratio. The driver feels only a small change in acceleration. As the car continues gaining speed, the process repeats through third, fourth, fifth, and every higher gear available. More ratios keep the engine closer to its efficient operating range. Under hard acceleration, the transmission holds lower gears longer to produce more power. During gentle driving, it shifts earlier to save fuel. Press the accelerator deeply while cruising, and it can downshift one or several gears to increase wheel torque for passing. The selector positions also change which elements are allowed to transmit power. In park, a parking pawl mechanically locks a toothed wheel connected to the transmission output. In neutral, the required clutch connections are released, so engine power does not reach the output shaft. In reverse, a different planetary combination reverses output rotation. In drive, the control system automatically selects from the forward ratios. All of this creates heat. Fluid repeatedly changes direction inside the torque converter. Clutches absorb energy while slipping during shifts, and gears and bearings generate friction. Transmission fluid carries much of this heat to a cooler, often located inside or near the vehicle's radiator. Heat is also one of the transmission's greatest enemies. Fluid that is degraded, contaminated, too low, or incorrect for the transmission may not create the intended hydraulic pressure or friction behavior. That can cause delayed engagement, slipping, harsh shifts, overheating, and accelerated clutch wear. This is why the exact fluid specification and service procedure matter. Automatic transmission fluids are not all interchangeable. Although modern automatic transmissions are controlled by computers, the computer does not physically turn the gears. It coordinates hydraulic pressure. That pressure squeezes friction clutches. The clutches control planetary gear members, and the planetary gears reshape the engine's speed and torque before sending power toward the differential and wheels. From the driver's seat, a shift may feel like almost nothing. Inside the transmission, it is a precisely timed exchange between fluid, friction, electronics, and some of the most ingenious gear geometry ever placed in a production machine.
The next time a car accelerates smoothly from a stop and changes gears on its own, remember what is happening beneath the floor. The torque converter is directing fluid. The pump is building pressure. The valve body is routing it. Clutch packs are changing connections, and planetary gears are continuously reorganizing the path of power.
That is how an automatic transmission actually works. If you enjoy seeing how machines, engines, and technology work from the inside, subscribe to How Engineering Works for more visual engineering explanations.